One after, and that's when we're supposed to start, so call the meeting to order and need a roll call, or do you just,
Yeah, we can for attendance. William Ronigan,
here,
Franklin Hahn, Ken Anderson,
here,
Ken Visker,
Here.
and Larry Heck.
we'll move to the first hearing. Want to read the notice and staff report?
Yep. So please take notice that an application was received from the following person for variances of setback requirements: Kyle Cayley and Julia Vandenberg in Valley High Estates, the first subdivision in Mount Prairie Township, and they're looking for a variance to reduce the township road setback to build a deck. A hearing on this application will be held at the Houston County Commissioners Room, City of Caledonia, at 6:20 p.m. on Thursday, September 23rd of 2021. All persons having an interest in the matter will be given the opportunity to submit comments relative to the granting or denying of said application. Comments should be mailed to the Environmental Services Department at 304 South Marshall Street in Caledonia, or emailed to myself, and must be received by Tuesday, September 14th of 2021. Comments in regard to the petition received by this date will be part of the public record and will be made available for review by the Board of Adjustment prior to the meeting. This was advertised on September 8th of 2021.
Okay, you want to go on the staff report?
Yeah, so I guess I really don't have anything else to add aside from the staff report. They're looking to, so they have the first lot when you come into Valley High off the main road. It's the first one on the left. They want to put a deck off the front end of towards the roadside, and then they'll also extend some along the eastern side of the house. They will meet the side setback, but the house is 70 feet from the center of the road right now, and he wants to put a 12-foot deck on it. So he's looking for a 7-foot variance to meet that road requirement. It seems that the minimum that we asked for, I did verify it as a 2-rod road. So we asked that he doesn't encroach more than 20 feet on the right-of-way line there, which he will meet that.
So that's why you come up with 12 feet, 12-foot depth?
That was actually what he had planned. He initially submitted a permit application, I guess, and then this was discovered, so that brought about the variance. But it was originally a 12-foot deck, and it did fit the requirements with a variance.
Okay. Applicants, do you have anything else you want to add?
Yeah. If you want to
If you
say
wanna
anything,
come
you can
up.
just come up here.
I don't have a ton to add. I think Mary did a good job highlighting. That's already existing in the back. It overlooks our septic mound, which is not the most pleasant sight. So we're trying to wrap it around the front of the deck and have a nice little patio to sit on, so we can enjoy dinner with the kids, kind of with instead of the backyard. The other side of the house is occupied by a carport, so we can't really put that over there. And already the septic mount is in the back, so we can't really extend it back that way.
So you would be wrapping it around with the connecting into that like the steps coming out of the backside.
Yeah, almost. It's not going to go quite back to the steps. We're just going to remove a couple rails, maybe like 2 feet,
Okay,
and it's going to come out 4
connecting
feet
to
wide.
that deck there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Either of you have questions for him about it?
Is the township okay with this?
As far as I know, they didn't object when I called. Nobody objected. I talked to my neighbors, and they actually were happy. They thought it looked good. It increased the value of the property. I haven't met with her. Maybe it should. It wasn't a good idea.
heard from the township when he submitted the building permit application, they responded they had no issue. They did ask for a little bit more information then when the variance application came through, and I never heard anything beyond that, so.
Okay,
I usually assume there was no issue.
any other people have other questions from the board? And is there any other person who wants to address this issue? Okay, I guess, thank you for your coming in. Anything you want to discuss before we go through the findings? Either of you? Can we move on with the findings like we did this the other way? We read them and we just, if we agree with staff for analysis, that's all we have to do.
Yeah, we'll
Or
do,
do we want to read them all and we could, what's the simplest way for you?
I guess I've been doing where I read each individual one, and you guys can just take we don't do roll call, we can take a group vote,
Regroup
and
vote.
then we'll do each one and then adopt the findings at the end.
Okay,
So, number one, that the variance request is in harmony with the intent and purpose of official controls. Analysis says that the deck will meet the minimum setback required from right of way in the Houston County zoning ordinance. In addition, it will add value to the existing development, and that's always encouraged.
okay. Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Number two, that there are practical difficulties in complying with the official controls and that the proposed use of the property is reasonable. Economic considerations alone do not constitute practical difficulties. That this house was built 70 feet off the township road by previous owners. In order to accommodate a deck at that size proposed off the front of the house, the only reasonable method is to receive a variance. The applicant also identifies using this opportunity to address pooling water issues around the foundation.
Any comments, questions? All in favor of staff analysis, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Carried.
Number three, that the variance request is due to special conditions or circumstances unique to the property and not created by the property owner. Analysis is that this site is unique in that the replacement septic system location is immediately behind the dwelling. That work was completed prior to their ownership, and the petitioners wish to overlook Mound Prairie rather than their Mound septic system. Dwelling layout prevents the structure from being located on the west side, and if the proposal was to be relocated off the east side of the dwelling, it may still require a small variance.
Any comments, questions, staff analysis? All in favor of accepting staff analysis, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Four, that the variance cannot be alleviated by a reasonable method other than a variance, and the minimum variance which would alleviate the practical difficulty is sought. Analysis says that a deck is a common request in the residential district, and there are lots with roads facing decks or patios in the subdivision. While the living space occupying the east portion of the structure, with the living space occupying the east portion of the structure, the only reasonable location to add outdoor space is off the front or east side of the structure. The proposal will meet the minimum allowance from right of way.
Any comments, questions? All in favor of staff analysis, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, go on.
Five, that the variance will not alter the essential character of the locality nor substantially impair property values or the public health, safety, or welfare in the vicinity. Analysis says that this is the residential district. Decks and patio areas off the front of the house are found within the subdivision, and this proposal should not affect visibility on the road or for the adjacent intersection.
Any comments or questions? All in favor of staff analysis, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Go ahead.
Six, that the request is not a use variance and shall not have the effect of allowing any use that is not allowed in the zoning district to permit a lower degree of flood protection than the regulatory flood protection elevation or permit standards lower than those required by state law. This is an area variance and there is no floodplain in the general vicinity. I guess that's it.
Okay. Comments, questions? All in favor of staff analysis, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, and that carried. So now we need a motion to accept the findings.
So move.
Motion by Ken Visser. Is it second?
I'll second
Second by Wayne Runnigan. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that motion carried. Now we need a motion to on the variance. Just basically to allow a variance of 7 feet, is it?
Yep, a motion to grant or you could consider that, to grant a 7-foot variance to meet the required 65-foot township road setback for proposed deck.
Sounds about right. Need a motion on it?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Kenny Visper, and then second
I'll second
by Wayne. Other discussion? None, all in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Now you can do.
there's some bad golfers out there. I'm surprised you want to watch them.
Is there a speed?
Well,
limit
you're a
on
ways
that?
away from it. I
Yeah.
happened to be out there yesterday. I just
Yeah.
decided going from Houston to La Crescent. It was a nice drive, and then I decided to drive up there. Well, where do I turn around? So I drove all the way around there to get, it came out.
Oh,
I've never been on that road before, but it's kind of neat. So, but it looks like that'd be a good addition. Okay.
I will try to get that out tomorrow. For you. Yep, thanks.
Okay, that one's done.
Was Franklin planning to be here?
I never talked to
I
him. so
wonder
don't
if he's
know.
in the cornfield or bean field.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
probably what it is. I mean,
that's true.
And I haven't talked to him for a long time, so
He's usually good about calling. The door I must have been open. Everybody made it in, I guess.
so. We got about, what, 5
Yeah.
minutes before we can start the next one? Do we?
Yeah. Did you want to do minutes or?
We got the minutes from last month. Everyone looked it over.
I move we approve the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes by Kenny,
I'll second it.
and second by, well, you
wasn't
weren't there,
there.
so I guess that'd be more for me to second it.
I read it, but
Yeah,
it wasn't there.
you weren't there, so I understand that. But anyway, yeah, I can second that motion, I guess. The other corrections, additions that you saw, I didn't. So all in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed? Okay, that's taken care of. Don't know of anything else that we have offhand.
The only other business I was going to bring up was that we were looking at, well, as of right now, I guess we don't have a Board of Adjustment meeting for a request for October.
Oh, wonderful.
If we do get one in, we were talking about going to the 4th of November and kind of combining November's and October's meetings because Thanksgiving pushes November's a little earlier.
Oh, okay.
And so we just kind of meet in the middle and go on the 4th. I don't know of anything coming in right offhand, but there would be 2 or 3 more weeks, I guess, for applications to come in then, if that's.
So you're looking instead of the fourth Thursday would be a second or third. Huh?
It only actually pushes it back a week. It'd be the first Thursday in November.
I guess the only meeting I have one on the second Thursdays. For a soil and water board, but that's in the daytime, so it's not a matter.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm good.
I'm tied up the second Thursday also,
Okay,
township.
okay. So, yeah, as of right now, we don't have anything, but
Well, that's wonderful to have that way.
I need the money.
I guess if you want to try to do a different than a regular schedule, you just have to call people. Yeah,
yeah,
it'll work.
yeah, I guess we just try to schedule you at the same time as planning commission normally.
Right,
but I
normally
think
it's works out,
you're
wouldn't
now
have to.
aboard, so. This one with additional information. Yeah, if you guys want to take a look at that quick, there's a survey and then the application, I think that was added to the packet that you received in the mail.
Been taking corn out?
Not yet. I don't have my own combine, so I gotta wait. for it.
Have you tested any?
Well, we took a sample in today and it was a little over 20. And I want high moisture, so I got thinking pretty quick, we gotta check some of the fields.
Yeah.
Real quick. And I don't know about beans, so, they're not ready yet, mine aren't.
Mine neither. So I was working on the combine today. It's just about ready for high moisture.
Yeah, I'm
And-
sure.
And I didn't check it, but I know it's ready. It's probably a little too dry, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
should we start?
Yep, I'm ready if you guys are.
Ready? Go ahead.
So please take notice that an application was received from the following person for variances of setback requirements. Jacob Schulte in Sheldon Township for a variance to reduce the minimum rear yard setback for an existing building. A hearing on this application will be held at the Houston County Commissioners Room in Caledonia at 6:40 PM on Thursday, September 23rd of 2021. All persons having an interest in the matter will be given the opportunity to submit comments relative to the granting or denying of said application. Comments should be mailed to the Environmental Services Department at 304 South Marshall Street in Caledonia or emailed and must be received by Tuesday, September 14th of 2021. Comments in regard to the petition received by this date will be part of the public record and will be made available for review by the Board of Adjustment prior to the meeting. This was advertised on September 8th of 2021. I guess as far as the staff report, so this site was actually, it was split in the small parcel was created back in 1990. As you can see on the survey, or they had the survey done at that time and they just drew the line pretty much right up to the barn. I presume that was to keep as much tillable acreage in that area as possible. And I guess as we've kind of encountered in the past, without that kind of review process in place by the county, even though we don't look at that, they were still supposed to keep that 50 feet there. And so it wasn't until they recently submitted an application for an addition onto their home that this was found. And so they're looking for this variance so that we can issue that permit for their dwelling addition. I guess without having, or since it was so close to the building anyway, I just put a variance of 50 feet essentially. It probably is like 48 or 9, I guess, but we'll just ask for the full setback since it looks like in the survey it's pretty much butted up to there. Aside from that, there is really nothing out of the ordinary. There will be, it's up to you guys, I guess. I did, normally when we'd issue a variance like this, if this building was to come down, he's asked for that variance, so if he could replace that structure within, it would apply the same as what he currently has. So it's up to you. Just because it is a pretty much a full variance setback or full setback, that I didn't know if you would want a newer building to be moved off the property line if it could be. So I did include that condition, but it's up to you. You guys can change
We
it.
can discuss that when we get there.
Yeah.
The applicants, are they here? I'd like to talk about it a little more.
Hey, Jake. Jake's my neighbor.
Okay, I kind of figured that, looking at the map.
She basically said everything. I mean, you know, the farm site in 1990 got split. The farmland got sold to Dale Runnigan Trust. And my parents bought the 4 acres. So it's been like that for 30 years.
I guess the one question I would have, do you know how old that building is, that old barn? Is that quite an older, real old structure, or, you know, it's hard to tell by looking at it, but it's,
19, I don't know the year, but it's, I would say 50 plus.
it's an older,
But it's,
is it a 2-story hay barn?
Correct, hay mound on top.
Yep, okay. With that roof design, I would guess it's probably close pushing 100,
It very well could be. I don't know that.
but it's hard to tell.
There was no date on Beacon, but the house is dated in 1900, so I would presume that the whole farm site is
A
pretty
lot of
similar.
them, and that's probably one of the earlier, I mean, it's, the straight roof barns are usually from the late 1890s to the early 1910.
Okay, I'm a little too young to know that.
Hip roofs, narrow hip roofs came in the teens, and the wider ones in the 20s and 30s. Then the Gothic arch came by the 40s. So it's an old barn, but it looks like it's in good shape.
Yeah, I
From what I
really
can
don't
see.
plan on removing it.
Right, and it'd be a big job to take it out, I'm sure.
Costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
and you have remodeled on that barn too.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
3 corners have been replaced.
Yep,
Used to be brick, now it's concrete walls
okay, yep,
because them corners are falling down.
yep, yep.
And that's been, I bet you that's pushing 25 years since that's been done. So that barn is probably.
I guess part of it is we like to see these old buildings continue to be used too. We don't want to push people to tear down something if they don't have to.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I have no objection.
I wish it wasn't such a lengthy process, but we have to go through all this.
I've been in the barn several times and it is well put together.
Yep,
And I don't know, unless a tornado hits it. I think it's gonna stand a long time yet.
Yeah.
And it's big and he uses it.
well, and as long as you keep the roof in shape so that it doesn't get rot out, it's gonna last.
That roof is actually in really good shape.
And looking at the picture, it sure does look that way. Anyway, anything else that you have questions for him or anything? I think we're probably ready to go to the finding unless there's someone else who has some comments on this. Okay, let's go on to our findings and thank you.
All right.
So number 1, that the variance request is in harmony with the intent and purpose of official controls. The land use plan calls for promoting agriculture and staff presume the existing property line was drawn with the thought of retaining as much tillable acreage as possible for the adjacent landowner. In addition, the plan encourages rehabilitation of existing homesteads. This variance is required to allow the landowners the ability to receive a permit for a dwelling addition.
Questions, comments? All in favor of staff analysis, say aye.
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 Post. Okay, go on.
Number 2, that there are practical difficulties in complying with the official controls and the proposed use of the property is reasonable. Economic considerations alone do not constitute practical difficulties. Analysis is that the property line was established 30 years ago, and to the knowledge of the office, there has been no issue, but the adjacent landowner has recently changed. The structure is in good shape, and so the applicant does not wish to remove it.
Comments, questions? All in favor of the staff analysis, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Go ahead.
3, that the variance request is due to special conditions or circumstances unique to the property and not created by the property owner. This parcel was created approximately 30 years ago prior to the current landowners acquiring the property. Staff presume the property line was established to preserve as much tillable acreage as possible.
Comments, questions? All in favor of staff analysis, say aye.
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 Opposed? Go ahead.
The variance cannot be alleviated by a reasonable method other than a variance, and the minimum variance which would alleviate the practical difficulty is sought. The building is too large to move and too nice to demolish at this time. Therefore, a variance is the only reasonable method to return the site to compliance and allow the applicant to permit a dwelling addition.
Comments, questions on that? All in favor of staff analysis, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, go ahead.
5, that the variance will not alter the essential character of the locality nor substantially impair property values or the public health, safety, or welfare in the vicinity. Hobby farms are common across Houston County, and this property line will not affect the character of the locality or public health, safety, or welfare.
Okay, comments or questions? All in favor of staff analysis, say aye.
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 Go ahead.
So 6, that the request is not a use variance and shall not have the effect of allowing any use that is not allowed in the zoning district, permit a lower degree of flood protection than the regulatory flood protection elevation, or permit standards lower than those required by state law. This is a use variance and the site is outside of floodplain.
Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Need a motion to accept the findings?
I make the motion, we accept the findings as read.
Okay,
Can I go back
second?
just a second? The request is not a use variance, but then you say it is a use variance.
That is correct. It is an area variance.
So
An area variance.
So-
how should it read?
This is an area variance.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Bill, for correcting that. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay. So now the motion we need a motion to grant a variance of, well, you're saying basically the full 50 feet for all practical purposes, it's that.
Yeah.
I'll move to grant that variance of 50 feet for the existing building with the proposed condition that a replacement structure must meet the required setback per the Houston County zoning ordinance.
And when you say meet the ordinance, you're meaning whatever is current at the time.
Right, it's 50 feet now.
I mean, because we may revise those ordinances.
Right,
And
Yeah.
hopefully make it more compatible for something like this.
Correct. That's why I use that language in case it
Okay.
doesn't change.
Is there a second to that motion?
So let's say the barn burns down and he rebuilds something. So then he has to be back 50 feet from,
Our
Where
current
the line
ordinance would
is
say
now.
50 feet back. And the other, or could be, if there was a application for, then it would require a variance application to go any closer. Is the way I understood, you know,
Correct. Well, so
That's the current.
if we had granted this, essentially something, if he was to tear it down and rebuild it, he could probably rebuild where I guess it depends on the zoning administrator, maybe interpretation at the time, but he could rebuild where it stands if he has a 50-foot variance. So that's, I
Oh,
guess the
sure.
question.
Yeah, but basically
Unless
we
he's
want the variance.
expanding it somehow.
We would like to have what you're saying, I think, Kenny, was that if he has to replace it, it has to have some of the setback
Right.
in. And
Has
I,
to comply.
I'm not sure if the 50-foot is necessary, but I would say I'd rather leave it that way.
Leave it that way if he
Because then
needs
if
less,
there's a
he
need
can come in
for
for a variance.
less, then they can come and reapply.
Right.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah,
The replacement of the building would require a permit and at least a 50-foot variance or a setback or a variance from the Board of Adjustment. Is my understanding.
or whatever the setback is. At
Yeah,
that time.
whatever it is at the time. And
Okay, I'll
also,
second that.
okay, we have a motion and a second. I don't know, any more discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Permits to them in the appropriate time.
All right, so, yeah, I guess since you guys already have your building permit in, these guys are the decision-making board here, so I'll try to get that issued tomorrow for you. At time.
Very much.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
I have a lot of trouble with the term hobby farm. There's no hobby about farming. Do not use that again.
I understand.
I was a hobby farmer and I don't remember it being anything like a hobby. I have hobbies. This wasn't a hobby.
Well, my hobbies aren't farming.
No, no. I object to that term.
But then I do, my woodworking is a hobby. Some carpenters might not think.
Well,
a
that's
hobby
right.
too.
Yeah, Busman's house. Yeah.
Maybe it depends on how much you like farming.
Well, after about 10 years, I woke up one morning and I thought, wait a minute, just because I have work land, there's no law that says I gotta farm it. That was like a eureka moment. I thought I was supposed to do that. And then I found out there was no law that I had to do it. And I quit.
I don't know if I quit, I don't know how much longer I'd last.
Well, it was, I walked away. It wasn't hard. But once I got rid of my cattle, and suddenly I had a life,
Yeah,
I wasn't
I've
chasing.
got a son who's taking over the
Oh,
livestock part
no,
of
that's the best part.
it, which I did for my dad.
Yeah,
Well, more or less, he continued to do the milking, but I was there whenever he wanted to travel,
yeah. Well, that's the key. I mean,
and,
otherwise you're just tied down.
oh, yeah.
I felt I was retired after I got rid of the milk cows.
Yeah, I
Oh,
suppose.
that's almost his, my dad always thought that's semi-retirement, getting rid of the cows.
Yep.
Yeah.
And milk cows that's full-time.
Yeah.
And retirement is crop farming.
So now I'm kind of enjoying farming.
Yeah.
I have beef cattle, but I don't have to be out there at 5 in the morning and 5 at night. I can do chores anywhere from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. And not that I ever milk, but I can't imagine. It's hard to imagine doing that day and night, morning and night, morning and night,
7 days a week,
ever. Yeah,
365 days of the year.
and then, put your cows with someone else.
Yeah.
That's gotta be hard,
Oh, yeah.
just to take a couple of days off.
I hardly ever remember as a family going anywhere
Yeah.
other than to our, farthest trip was usually Houston.
Yeah, a
when
day
my
trip.
dad grew up.
That was a day trip between.
Yeah, that was a full day trip.
Yeah. That was as far as you
And
ever
then,
got to
well,
go.
then we get together on my mother's family, we'd get together Christmas, second day Christmas. That was from noon
Yeah.
and then supper and evening, but we would go home and come back for supper.
Sure. Jeez.
But it's the oddity on her family. They grew up in Heighton. The one who moved the farthest away got to Caledonia.
My dad was a commercial fisherman. He used to sell fish in Heighton. And I don't know if this is true, because he sometimes stretched it, but they would catch sheephead, and run them up to Heighton and sell them as river bass. Because the people in Heighton didn't know the difference. and they'd snap them up, river bass. So that was the story. And everybody in Heighton, well, New Albany and Heighton, I can tell if you're New Albany and Heighton because you pronounce my name Visiger. It's Visger, but everybody in New Albany and Heighton
Okay, I
pronounces
guess
it.
I don't even know how
You say Visgar, which is common,
Okay,
but if I hear Visiger, I know it's from New Albany or Heighton.
and I think I.
So
picked up
how
a
is
lot
it
of-
exactly?
It's Visger, but they
Visger.
pronounced it Visiger.
Okay.
Visger Landing, right north of New Albany, was my grandpa.
Oh, okay.
So
And I probably picked up all the odd languages from Spring Grove.
sure, yeah.
But someone was talking about, I was joking about the pronunciation of chocolate or something. We have so many dialects in
Oh, I
this
know,
country.
sure.
Almost every community has their own
Yeah.
way of expressing certain things.
Yeah.
And when you're in that community, you don't think anything odd about it. Something
No.
outside does though.
Yeah. My mother's family was Norwegian, and there was one of her sisters I couldn't even understand. Her accent was so.
Well,
So-
it's 7 o'clock. Let's move on. We got the next one hearing.
All right, so please take notice that an application was received from the following persons for a variance of setback requirements. Christine Custer in Brownsville Township for a variance to allow an accessory to be placed on a bluff. A hearing on this application will be held at the Houston County Commissioners Room in Caledonia at 7 p.m. on Thursday, September 23rd of 2021. All persons having an interest in the matter will be given the opportunity to submit comments relative to the granting or denying of said application. Comments should be mailed to the Environmental Services Department or emailed and must be received by Tuesday, September 14th of 2021. Comments in regard to the petition received by the state will be part of the public record and will be made available for review by the Board of Adjustment prior to the meeting. This is advertised on September 8th of 2021. I guess I don't have anything really to add to this staff report. She actually also had submitted a building permit application, and when I did a site visit, I found that the initial the location didn't meet the slope standards. It wasn't very far over, between 25 and 30%, and then the toe, there's no like definite toe bluff in that area until you really hit the bottom. And so it is it was pasture, and so it has very good vegetation. I don't believe that runoff would be an issue, or there would be any kind of erosion impact with a structure of this sort. So I think I believe in the photos here, I drew out where it was, and that would be the correct location. She had that. I was basing it off of a location we had in the building permit packet, but I see then in this packet, after I had everything put together, that they had it corrected in what they submitted with their application. So that is in the last page there, it shows the preferred location. They had looked at an alternative location up the hill a little bit more, I guess it has the same impacts really as what this one does, but I don't think that there's gonna be any issue with the preferred one. And you guys choose to go that route.
Are you the applicant?
The solar array that I'm proposing to put in won't affect any of my immediate neighbors, and none have expressed any concern. And in fact, both were quite interested in the technology and, the opportunities to be able to provide a little electricity using solar. The reputable company, Olson Solar out of the Cross, will be putting up the installation. And Dennis here from that company is here if you have any technical questions. The modification to the hillside is going to be minimal, and I did bring a couple extra pictures of what the vegetated slope looks like and also what the poles look like, so that but they can be installed with
I think that's in our
minimal
packet. Oh, maybe not. Nope.
impact on that hillside, and I don't believe that really will cause any erosion or any adverse.
So it's basically posts in the ground and you
Right, so there'll be
bolt
five
onto that?
posts in the ground. You can see kind of on the package that I submitted, there is a picture of what the skeleton looks like with the posts and the metal grid, and then the solar panels go on that.
Yeah.
How many panels?
Well, there's gonna be 5 posts, and I don't know exactly how many panels. 24. So I hope that gets me to net zero.
You do just drive the posts in, or how are the posts set in? How are the posts set in the ground?
With the post.
Okay, that's what I expected.
I think there's a picture
I mean, I just kind of from one other one that we had, that's what I was expecting to hear. So I just was hoping that was the way it was.
yeah. The auger.
So very little disturbing of dirt.
That way the mic can pick you up.
Yeah, I figured more of my questions would be for you than anyone, than you would know, but there'll be very little disturbing of the dirt in putting the post in.
Yeah, we're gonna own 6 feet. Try to keep it level.
Yep.
Yeah, the main disturbance is gonna be the trench going
Right.
away to the meter.
So how deep do you have to put the wire?
Yeah.
How deep does that go have to be in the ground?
We go 4 feet back. That's gonna be
Okay. Yeah.
almost a foot wide. Our trencher almost the dirt side, it's easy to fill that.
Yeah, offhand, you're near the base. It isn't real. You go further up back and it goes steeper, right?
Correct. It's actually fairly flat. Depending on exactly where it is, it's like 20% grade.
Right.
Over the whole thing, it's 24 to 30. So
There's a lot of variation of what people call flat.
that's that's
When-
really quite flat for the cruise area.
When we grow up in the hills like we do, we think of flat as a gentle rolling. And if you get out in the truly flat areas of Illinois or something like that, a 10-foot is a big hill.
Yeah. Um, The slope on that, I'm not sure.
Yeah, because you said you had gotten 20%, but you were measuring it over a 50-foot length.
Right.
And so when I was measuring it just the actual proposed area. And so that's where I was getting the 25 to 30%.
Yeah.
And defer to your.
Yeah, so the longer our run was, the more accurate our rise was, so
Oh.
it's a little different than dirt. So
Yeah.
So how do you maintain the vegetation under these things with a mower, or can you do that?
That's what my plan would be to mow. What, the backside, I don't think, will be shaded considerably, and so I don't expect a whole lot of, tall vegetation, but I've cut out the honeysuckle and stump treated that, so all that's gonna grow up there now will be grasses and goldenrod and some of those kinds, but I'll keep any wooded vegetation cut and trimmed out.
typically what we see is after a while, the goldenrod would be a problem later on. But you see being reseeded with like prairie grass and that kind of stuff, which they can let grow season.
So the lowest part of this panel would be on the downslope, right?
Correct.
And about how high off the ground is it going to be?
About 3 feet, 4 feet.
3 or 4 feet off the ground.
So in that picture, you can see that most of that is actual grass, and there are a couple of
Yep.
stands and goldenrod and things, but I can keep those cut easily.
So then this isn't pastured.
No,
It was at one point, or?
probably 30 or 40 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Before we moved in.
Okay.
Okay.
Any questions
No,
or?
I'm good.
Other than I don't see anyone else here that would be commenting, so I think we're ready to go on. Thank you.
Can you, would you mind staying?
Sorry.
Would you mind staying? I need to talk to you. No, not here. I mean, after the meeting,
Oh, yeah.
after the
Yeah.
meeting.
Yes, yes.
I'm sorry. You thought you were in trouble, right? No.
So let's go through start on the findings and
All right. So number one, that the variance request is in harmony with the intent and purpose of official controls. Section 12.5 of the Houston County zoning ordinance specifically addresses the appropriateness of variances for inadequate access to sunlight for solar energy systems.
any questions or comments on the staff analysis? In favor, say aye.
Right.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. We'll move on.
There are practical difficulties in complying with the official controls, and the proposed use of the property is reasonable. Economic considerations alone do not constitute practical difficulties. Analysis is that a primary objective when locating a solar array is to maximize solar exposure. No toe of bluff is definitively visible, and slopes remain over 24% for much of the hillside area. Locating the array further south onto lesser slopes will influence the efficiency of the system.
Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Go ahead.
3, that the variance request is due to special conditions or circumstances unique to the property and not created by the property owner. The property is located in a narrow valley with a floor less than 300 feet in width, running east and west and bookended with steep bluffs. There is an intermittent stream at the base of the valley that should be avoided as well.
Any comments or questions? Staff analysis. All in favor of staff analysis, say aye.
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 Okay, let's move on.
So number 4, that the variance cannot be alleviated by reasonable method other than a variance, and the minimum variance which would alleviate the practical difficulties sought. It is reasonable to consider access to direct sunlight a practical difficulty, and alternative locations will yield a less efficient system.
Any comments or questions? All in favor of staff analysis, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Go ahead.
5, that the variance will not alter the essential character of the locality nor substantially impair property values or the public health, safety, or welfare in the vicinity. The effect of adjacent property no effect to adjacent property values or health, safety, and welfare is anticipated. This location is grassland area with dense vegetation, so no runoff or erosion issues are anticipated. Solar installations have become common throughout the county, so this proposal will not alter the essential character of the locality.
Comments or questions on staff analysis? Hearing none, all in favor of staff analysis, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Go ahead.
6, that the request is not a use variance and shall not have the effect of allowing any use that is not allowed in the zoning district, permit a lower degree of flood protection than the regulatory flood protection elevation, or permit standards lower than those required by state law. The relief sought by the applicant is rooted in the ground slope of the proposed location and not on a prohibition of use proposed. Thus, the request is not a use variance. Residential solar arrays are considered an accessory use in all zoning districts. There is no mapped floodplain on this property.
Comments or questions? All in favor of staff analysis, say aye.
Right.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, then we need a motion to accept the findings.
I move we accept the findings.
Motion by Kenny, second,
I'll second it.
second by Wayne. Any comments, discussions on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion fair carried. Now we have, are you considering any conditions?
No, not for this site.
Okay, I just thought I'd ask. So the proposed motion to grant a variance to allow a placement of a 40 by 10 solar array on a bluff. That's all we would need, right? Go ahead.
Would there ever be any need or want to expand it?
That's
And I guess I would say that I will, run this if the variance is granted for a year or two and just see how much my electricity. And I think they probably decide to correct equipment, so I don't anticipate it, but if, it's a possibility.
The reason I asked it is, I'm not sure, I wouldn't.
I understand that. I just saw that. I would be more inclined to say a variance to allow the placement of a solar array.
Yeah.
Rather than a
Yeah.
specific size.
I'm better with that.
That's what I would prefer myself.
Okay.
Yeah, the site could accommodate more. so-
Right.
Yep. You make a
So, yeah,
motion
I
to
would
say
move that
way?
we grant a variance to allow an accessory structure, meaning ground mounted solar panels on a bluff.
Second to that motion.
If you wanted to add to that, like, would you have to put in another cable? Or can you use that same cable going to the house?
Right, it would be the same cable, it would just be adding one post and four
Right.
solar.
We size our cables, ground cable, for at the very minimum of 3% loss. And I think that the cable we scheduled going down there is at like a 1.5%. So we'll be at capacity on.
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion. I guess I make my comment, it's not a building, it's just holes in the ground, and it's not likely, if you're talking of erosion, it's not going to be moving down the hill and creating a lot of problem, in my opinion.
I like that you use a post pounder.
So, any other thoughts, comments?
I'm good.
Good.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carried.
We'll be adjourned. I want to talk to you.
And then, yeah, all right.
Is there anything else to be done
Nope,
tonight?
I didn't have anything else.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. It's a motion and a second to adjourn. In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Opposed. Hearing none, the motion to adjourn is approved.